One of the biggest winners on the 2022 NBA draft night would have to be the Houston Rockets. They genuinely killed it tonight. While the Rockets didn't select who everyone thought they would at pick 3 in Paolo Banchero, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And considering the other picks that they made later on in the draft, I overall believe that the Rockets have done a fantastic job tonight. So in today's video, I'll be explaining my reasoning for why I believe this is the case, and ultimately, what these picks mean for the Rockets moving forward. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. But with that being said, let's talk about the Houston Rockets draft haul. With the Rockets' first pick in the 2022 NBA draft, pick number 3, they were able to select Jabari Smith Jr., the presumptive number 1 pick before draft night. Jabari Smith falling was an absolute shock, with the news that Paolo would be selected first instead of him breaking legitimately before the clock started for the Magic. In my eyes, Jabari falling to the Rockets is a W. I know he might not have looked overly excited when he was initially selected, but let's be realistic for the kid. He probably expected to go first overall like everyone else expected him to be. It's understandable to appear that way. While I personally hoped that the Rockets would land Paolo Banchero, like many other fans, I'm also incredibly happy with the selection of Jabari Smith, simply because I think he fits the best with the Rockets' current roster and the needs they require to be filled. Jabari Smith is arguably the best defender in this draft class, and with no more Christian Wood, Houston really needed a guy that can hold his own in the paint as well as be versatile enough to switch out onto the perimeter. Jabari can do those things really well, and while he will need to fill out his frame a bit more to elevate his game defensively on the NBA level, he's got all the physical tools and evident skill that we saw at Auburn to make an instant impact for the Rockets on this end. As a 3-and-D guy, the Rockets get an absolute steal with him too. Smith can shoot the ball ridiculously well. For a player his size, I believe he shot around 40% from 3 in his season at Auburn, so that floor spacing ability will be critical alongside KPJ and Jalen Green in the long term. I also think next to Şengün in the front court, Jabari is a much better fit than Banchero had potential to be. There's certainly going to be a lot less clashing and spacing issues with those two, at least on paper. Jabari can also score at all 3 levels too, able to create off the dribble pretty decently and provide deadly spot-up shooting as I mentioned before. Again, with an ever-improving playmaker in Kevin Porter Jr. That's phenomenal to provide to this core in Houston. From his early interviews too that I saw on draft night, it's clear he's got a winner mentality. The interview he did with Malika Andrews in particular has got me so hyped to see him play. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and that is all you can really ask for with a team looking to make some moves up the standings. Obviously, we don't know everything off the bat. We'll have to wait for Summer League and the regular season to get a better grasp on how he fits alongside the rest of this young core. But for the time being, this is a phenomenal selection with the 3rd pick, and on paper, looks like an extraordinary fit for the Houston Rockets. With the 17th pick, Houston selected Tari Eason from LSU, and this was a player I was definitely hoping that we selected because it supports the notion of Houston trying to improve their defense for next season. It's an area the Rockets were terrible in the past couple years, so adding Eason and Jabari, the 2 most athletic, versatile and skilled defenders in the draft class, is so exciting. Eason is a 6'8" wing, weighing in around 215 pounds, and with those physical attributes, he can instantly slide alongside guys like Jabari, Jalen and KPJ and provide a boost, again especially on defense. He's aggressive on that end, fantastic at switching and guarding positions 1 through 5, and again, with those physical attributes, he makes a clear positive attribution to this Rockets core defensively on paper. He was actually the 6th man at LSU, yet didn't complain about it, and did all he could to make the Tigers a winning team. That kind of team play is what can take the Rockets to a new level, and these 2 picks certainly help the cause. Eason is a great hustler, one of the better rebounders in the draft, as well as being incredible defensively. His ability to crash the offensive glass and keep possessions alive was one of the reasons why I'm so excited to see us land him. Again, he's a team player, and combining that with the defensive skill and commitment to winning basketball that he possesses, it was so exciting to hear his name be selected as a Rockets fan. He is truly the perfect pick to what we are building in H-Town, and the fit alongside guys like Jalen Green and Jabari Smith looks to be really solid on paper. Finally, the last pick the Rockets had was initially the 26th pick, but they ended up trading that for the 29th pick. And with that, the Rockets selected Ty Washington, another incredible pick. A lot of people believe Ty could be the steal of the draft, and I kind of back that sentiment in, as Washington can be a floor general off the bench for the Rockets, at least initially. He has the skill to make teammates around him better, and that's exciting to think about in tandem with guys like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. and so on, who are already so good at the moment. His mid-range shooting is a key weapon in his game, and that kind of offensive creation will be interesting to see develop at the NBA level. Providing that he sees the floor regularly, I think within a couple of years, he can develop into a very solid backcourt piece for Houston. So right now, I'm a big fan of this pick, and how overall he's going to slide into the backcourt amongst guys like KPJ and Jalen Green. Overall, this was a fantastic night for the Houston Rockets in my eyes, as a fan of the team. Sure, Paolo was surprisingly taken away from us, but we still landed the assumed #1 pick, and Jabari was suspected to go first overall for a reason. His fit on the Rockets roster is incredible at a glance, and the more you unpack it, the better it looks. His defense is going to be so crucial for the future of this franchise, and his spectacular offensive arsenal that he is surely going to build upon also makes him such a great selection. I think out of all the top 3 players, those being Paolo, Chet and Jabari was the best fit for the Rockets. So in the end, while we didn't get who we thought we were going to get initially, this is still a fantastic selection. Also, the Rockets' biggest weakness last season was defense, as I mentioned at the top of the video. It's an area they hadn't improved on in last year's draft, where they opted for more scoring and shot creation players. So to leave this draft with a guy like Tari Eason is absolutely huge. Him and Smith are by far the 2 best defenders in the draft. They're versatile, skilled, and simply talented on that end. So to pair that with the offense that the Rockets have been building the past season or so, it's just a fantastic combo. Adding some more skill to the backcourt as well is also hella exciting. Ty Washington's upside is great, so I have zero complaints there, and I think a lot of you can agree with me on that one. There's just so much to like about what the Rockets did tonight. Just thinking about their young core has me hyped. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Sengun, Josh Christopher, Jayshawn Tate, KJ Martin if he sticks around, Usman Garuba, and now these young guns from the draft. The future is brighter than the sun in H-Town. I cannot wait to see how things go when the 2023 season comes around. And those are all the picks that the Rockets made in the 2022 NBA Draft. Be sure to let me know all your thoughts on Houston's work tonight down below in the comments. It was a pretty hectic draft and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.